Hello, fiber fans, friends, and followers. My name is Beth, and I'm here to talk to you about all of the yarny things I've gotten into recently. Today, I will be talking to you about a finished object and a couple more, actually. And I have some works in progress to talk about, as well as, where did I put it? I have a prompt for one lucky person to win this bag. This is a bag that was made by my friend Sandy, who makes these bags for her favorite podcasters, and I want to thank you, Sandy. This is just amazing. I love what you do for me and my channel, and I will be offering a prompt at some point in this episode for this bag, and the person who I announced as the winner for this bag has not yet responded. So I'm assuming that you have not seen the previous video where I announced your name as the lucky winner. It is someone who lives local to me. So if you live local to me and you haven't seen the announcement for the winner of this bag, I highly recommend you go back and watch it so you can claim it. Anyhow, if you don't, at some point I'll probably go back and look at the comments and reply to your comment letting you know that you won. I kind of went back and forth on this, like, do I tell them they won? Do I leave it as a surprise? Do I move on and offer it to someone else? I don't know. I'm really kind of like up in the air on this one, but you know, that's who I am in general. I'm always like, I don't know what to do. Anyhow, so today I will be throwing it back to past me as well as talking about current things. One of my main works in progress is the Stephen West Mystery Musicale. So in order to leave that not to be a spoiler, I'm going to put that all the way at the end of the video. So the order will be my current finished objects, throwing it to past me, coming back, doing a Sandy prompt, showing my new to me, and then Mystery Musicale. Sound good? How much introduction do I actually need? Okay, so I'm gonna jump right into finished objects. This one, I forgot to add this to my show notes. I don't know that I have ever talked about this on the podcast. This is a test knit that I did for Chit Chat Knits. Darcy of Chit Chat Knits designed this hat. I believe it's called the Chit Chat hat, and it has this lovely slip stitch detail that is, it's very feminine to me. At first when I saw that she was doing a test knit, I thought, oh, my husband could use a hat. I'll knit it for him. And then I thought, you know, I think this detail is just a little too feminine for him. So I'll knit him some other hat. But this is made in a sock set, a DK sock set that I received from Politically Incorrect Knitters. And I can't see myself when I'm modeling it, so I hope I don't look too goofy. But I love the way it looks. I thought about using a pom-pom. I thought about adding some of the contrast color to the top. It kind of was one of those things where if I were to do it again, I would go maybe a few rows shorter with the contrast color on the brim, and then do all of the decreases in the contrast color. I thought the detail of the decreases would turn out nicer. It's got this lovely star shape that I think it's hard to tell with all of this, you know, marled colorway in it, that it would stand out better in that contrast color. But, and that's another thing with the pom-pom is like, I don't want to cover up that cool detail. So anyway, this is, again, Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. I don't know if I said that before. I said that I won it. Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. It is a DK sock set. I don't remember the colorway name. That will be below. And great knit, a lot of fun. The pattern was easily memorizable. There was this part where you're knitting a bunch of stitches together, and most of the time when you knit a bunch of stitches together, it's a real pain to do. Not at all. Not at all. Very, very easy to like slip the yarn through. It was not, sometimes when you're knitting a whole bunch of stitches together, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't squeeze the needles through. That is not the case at all with this pattern. It is very easy to do, simple, great instructions. Darcy of Chit Chat Knits, look it up, make one for yourself, all your friends and family. The next finished object I have is the Davenport Cowl. And this is a pattern that I had purchased from Elgin Knitworks, and it is originally done in, I don't remember what weight yarn, but I went up to a bulky yarn because it was this contrast color that I found, the colorwork color, that I really fell in love with, and I wanted to use a solid yarn that really made this contrast color pop. Let me see what I want to let you know what these colors are, because I do have that. Queensland Brisbane Colorway Coral Reef is this fading colorway. And then Madeline Tosh TML Triple Twist in the colorway The Feels is this deep purple. And then the inside is some DK together with a Suri. It is Madeline Tosh Pashmina, Seaglass colorway, and Knitty McPurly Stockholm Suri colorway Meadow. So basically you knit a big tube. This gets attached to it, and then you 3-needle bind off at the end. I don't remember. I think I did it a little bit differently. I did cut out one of the colorwork repeats. Every time I've re-recorded this multiple times now. But every time I do, every time I put this on, I can see little poofs of fluff in the air. But this thing is so super warm on my neck. I cannot wait to test it out in the freezing Arctic, what do they call those things? Arctic blasts or whatever sometimes we have in the winter, where you're like, oh my gosh, we have a cold snap. But this is going to be the perfect thing for that. And I mean, I can cover my face. I don't know if you could hear that. I said I can cover my face. And I could, if I get too warm, I can fold it down, and it's adorable. Davenport Cowl by AOP Designs, and I highly recommend this one too. It knits up very quickly. I would say, like, this part with the diamonds in it, that's easy to memorize. This part with the swirls, that one you kind of have to follow along with, because it's not as intuitive, but they're short little segments that you can easily do. All right, let me get the fluff off my face and continue on. I think right now I'm gonna go ahead and send it off to Past Me to talk about what I'm wearing here. And it's funny, I decided to wear this because the last time, because in the episode that I pre-recorded, I was wearing it inside out for almost the whole episode, and you can see an end popping out on one side or the other. So I'll be talking about that shortly, and then I'll come back and give you a Sandy bag prompt. Today, as I record, it is the last week of my summer break. So I am recording this for future upload for the fall series that I have done throughout the summer. And I have some finished things as well as a work in progress to talk about, and future me, which would be probably in October, I think, of 2025, will be talking about whatever present day things are happening. So, today I'd like to talk about this lovely finished object. I am so excited. Oh my gosh. This has been one that is a long time in the making. This, I should look up when I cast it on and put that on the screen here, because I'm curious to know. It has been through a lot of ups and downs and twists and turns, and it was hibernating for a good amount of time. It was in timeout. So this is, what is it called? Budding Brioche Brooms by Jennifer Shiels Toland. And on my last episode, I had started this, what she calls the Budding Brioche border. And I was concerned as to whether I was going to run out of yarn and whether I was going to be able to do this correctly. I had put a couple of lifelines in it that actually stayed in it until I was completely finished, because I did not want to have any issues that I needed to go back and correct and try to pull all the way back to my garter section. I did do a twirl in this earlier, so I'm going to throw that in while I'm talking about this. But a lot of fun to do. I think I mentioned in my last episode something about that it was a different weight of yarn than it was supposed to be. And then I looked at the name of the yarn is Frontier Fingering from Expression Fiber Arts. And this is meant for a fingering weight yarn. So I don't know if it was just that I was looking at it and thinking it looked like a sport weight or felt like a sport weight. But I mean, it definitely seems heavier than a fingering weight to me. I am so happy with how this came out. This edge is beautiful. This is exactly what I wanted it for, was to learn how to do those increases and decreases that give you that sort of undulating edge here. And really, I somewhat expected it to be harder than it was. It really is just following the directions and going step by step with it and making sure that you're doing, and there was a lot of stopping and looking at it and going, is this what they meant? And like reading the directions and going, really? And looking at the videos, thank you to Jennifer Shiels Toland for having videos attached, because I doubted what I was doing. And there was one part where I didn't even know what she meant. So it helped to, in that sense. It wasn't so much a doubt as it was, what do you mean by that? And I kind of thought I understood, and then I realized, oh, she means this stitch, not that stitch. And yeah, it took some video watching to figure it out. And then once I watched the video, it was like, oh, okay. So, it just, as much as I know I'm probably not going to, go to dinner wearing this or anything like that. I'm not going to go to a party and put this on. I'm most likely not going to wear it to work, school, whatever. I know that I love this thing, and I'm not about to give it away to anyone just because it's not something that I'll wear on a regular basis. This will be a good thing to keep me warm when I'm knitting in the family room or wherever I happen to be in the house. I do think it hangs nicely in a way that, like, I don't need to tie it or fasten it in any way. It just hangs over my shoulders, and I like how it looks from the back. I think it hangs nicely, which is why when I did my twirl, I showed it that way. So I really think that's all I have to say about this, except for the fact that lingering whips, go back to them, do them. They're worth doing. If you liked it to begin with, go back and do it. It is such a feeling of accomplishment to be able to say, I worked through this. I got it done. It was hard and I did it anyway. I'm so happy with this. Okay. Enough going on and on about a finished object. I've got more finished objects to get to. And I was just sort of sorting through some of my squares that I have from the blanket for the Mystery Knit Along. This is the Berroco Blanket Mystery Knit Along, or Mystery Blanket Knit Along. I don't know. But this is the 2025 Berroco blanket. It's up here. You'll see it. So I thought I was up to square 3E on my instructions. And then I counted the similar squares, and I've only got 4 of them. So I know I did square 3A, and I did 3B. Now I'm wondering if I skipped over C and just went straight to D. I don't know. But I've got these different colors. So this is, I'm on February, and here we are in August or October as you're watching this, most likely. And I'm pretty sure this is square A. The only difference is the colors. So when I bought the colors for it, it said you need so many of color number 1 and so many of color number 2. So I sorted through and said, okay, I've got a little, on my phone, I've got a list of, this is color number 1, color number 2, color number 3, or if it's ABCD, I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure this is the first one I did. And then from there, I'm not entirely sure. I think this was one I had previously completed. And I know this one I finished last night. So this is square E. I dropped one. And I think this is square D. I don't know. But I finished 2 in the last 2 weeks. Now, what I didn't mention at the beginning of the video is that because summer got all jumbled for me over the last couple of weeks, I'm a little foggy on everything that happened, so I had to go back and watch my last video. So what happened is I did a fall video, I did a fall recording, and then the following week, I'm trying to remember now, the following week I think was a summer week and I recorded summer stuff. And then the week after that was both Shark Week and the weekend following was the Makers Meetup. So I had 2 weeks in a row of summer things that I was working on. And so I kind of tried to make up more time on winter knitting. But at the same time, I didn't feel like getting into my fall winter things. So I did still concentrate on some of my summer things that I wanted to get done. And there was a new cast on and, you know, all kinds of crazy things that I was like, oh my gosh, I want to keep going with the summer stuff. So I'm sort of in this area in my life of trying to figure out where I am with my knitting and get myself back on track and organized again. So I think that's why things got a little confusing with the blanket squares. And I'm hoping that I didn't do the wrong colors and end up with like the wrong amount of yarn. Like that at the end, I'll end up being like, wait, where'd all my yarn go? So, I do remember, as I said, I looked back at the last video and I had shown that I had the beginning of a square, which would, I think, be this one because this is the only one that starts with this green that I had already had cast on. And one of the things that I talked about is that I used a different cast on, which, see now I'm trying to find ends. Yes, there's an end right there. Yeah, 2 ends sewn in. So this is the one that I ran out of yarn on. Now the question is, did I do the right second and third colors on it? So what I did is I think it's called a cable cast on, where you cast on, you do a slip stitch, and then you knit 1 stitch and put it on your needle, and then you go in between those 2 stitches and to knit another stitch and put it on your needle. So that to me was a lot easier than trying to figure out how long of a yarn tail I need to cast on over 200 stitches. I mean, I know you can also take from the outside and the inside of the ball, but then that leaves you with extra tails at the end. And I didn't want to deal with that because I felt like it was giving me a sloppy corner too. So, it's interesting the techniques that you have to do for the different, projects. Like this isn't something I've had to think through all that much before because normally I'm not casting on that many stitches with, you know, when you start a top-down sweater, you've only got the collar and you're not casting on as many stitches. Or like with my socks, I like to go cuff down, and I know approximately how much yarn to use for that. I do 2 stretches of my arm. Anyhow, where was I at? Okay, so those are my other finished objects, per se. And my last thing that I have is a work in progress. Now, that is the last that I have for now, but future me is likely to talk about other works in progress. This work in progress is the La Prairie cardigan, and it is by Joji Locatelli. And I gotta tell you, the new thing on this project this week is that I added the next color in the fade. Now, let's look. This one, okay, I gotta say, I think this is my favorite color of the fade. However, it is looking very stripy and not so fadey. Like, these colors, I feel like just kind of melted into each other. You know, you've got the darker blue, then you've got the blue and green, then you've got the lighter green, and I can see there are some purples in that lighter green, but then this, I think mostly it's because that first stripe is very purple. You can see, like, in some of the subsequent stripes that there's some blue and stuff in there. Like, you can see there's little blips of, they don't look so stark of a contrast. So I think it's just that the beginning of the yarn was more of a deeper color. I'm not going to change it. I'm not taking it out. It's striped. That's how it is. And it doesn't bother me that much. I will say I tried this on this week because I was loving how it's coming along. So I'm going to try it on now and show you what this looks like on. What's interesting to me is that the back of it is so much lower than the front because of the construction. So let's see. It is almost to the bottom of my rib cage in back, and it is really up pretty high in front still. I mean, my rib cage is here in front, ends right here, and then in back, I mean, that's a big difference. So I'm curious to see when I'm finished with this, how it lands on me. If there's going to be a big odd looking thing. And I have not, I've thought about the possibility of adding some short rows in the front in order to make it land lower. And that right now, that's a problem for future me. I have a feeling this is going to be an ongoing work in progress for a long time more because I've been doing 2 rows a day. It does have, with the, I don't know if I showed this up close enough for you guys to see all of the detail of it. If you haven't been following along, you may not realize this is a very involved sort of texture on it that has a bit of cabling. So these little flowy, curvy things, there is a cable. You twist the stitches with essentially a cable. And I don't use a cable needle. I just take the one stitch off. It's just 2 stitches that you're twisting. So simple enough, but at the same time, it slows you down. You're not just zipping along, going back and forth. It takes time. Plus, they're twisted stitches. So you're knitting through the back loop on the right side and you're purling through the back loop on the wrong side. So it's a time eating work in progress. So I only do 2 rows a day on that. And sometimes I will say I gravitate to that project not as a let's do this and get it over with, but as I know that it's predictable what I need to do on that. With this couple of weeks being sort of jumbled together as I was not doing my just regular projects, I sort of allowed myself some time to just pick and choose what I worked on. And there were times that I was like, well, this project's giving me a headache and that project is not at a place that I can work on right now. And first I have to cake up a ball of yarn before I can go on to anything with that one. So, it's sometimes, even when it's the most complicated actual knit, it can be the easiest thing to work on because it's there and it's ready to be worked on. And sometimes too, it's like, well, I don't want to just like knit round and round on socks, or I don't want to just knit round and round on a blanket square. So it depends on how I'm feeling that day. That is my last work in progress for my fall series of things. I will be, let's just go ahead and throw in here anything that future me wants to talk about, whether it's just, I got nothing to say, or I gotta update you on something. And then I'll meet you at the end. Okay, here I am back in the present, and I have a couple of new to me things that I'll be talking about, and then into the mystery musicale. But before that, I have a Sandy bag prompt for you. So this is the bag that I will be giving to one lucky person who comments below on the subject of Stephen West mystery knit-alongs. What is your take on them? Do you enjoy participating in them? Do you avoid them like the plague? How do you feel about the Stephen West mystery knit-alongs? For years, my personal perspective was I love to watch them, not so sure I love to knit them. So, that's where I'm at with that. So the new to me, this yarn, Kirby Werby, she had a sale. It was a while ago. I came across this as I was looking for my Davenport cowl because I finished that a while ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot I had another new to me. So she was having a sale on some of her in-stock things, and I saw this color and self-striping yarn. I am a sucker for self-striping yarn. Unfortunately, I just don't use it enough. I have a whole area on my little tree over here of yarn that is just self-striping yarn, and I haven't touched it. I need to use it, but I love it. I love it. Anyhow, so this is Kirby Werby. What was her colorway here? Old Faithful, and it is her 4-ply superwash merino, 25% nylon, 440 yards. Kirby Werby. this may be the first time I've ever bought from her. I don't know how I got on her list. Did I get it from her email list? I don't remember. Maybe I saw it on Instagram, but yes. That'll make great socks. Anyhow, next, you guys, if you've been watching, you know that I have been a member of the Sheepyshire. She has pictures that inspire her monthly colorways. This is the October colorway. It is called Cave Dweller, and it is a fingering weight, 460 yards, her staple sock base, and I thought this did a good job of matching that picture. So I am happy to have that in stash, and I've got to get some more out of stash because I have not been doing that enough. But with that in mind, the Stephen West Mystery Music Howl is something that I have been working on since the beginning of October. So I just realized this morning as I was getting ready to record that I did not even have my Mystery Music Howl in my works in progress. So I needed to add that to Ravelry and add all the yarns and everything. And one of the things that happened, I was trying to find what the colorway was of the, one of them. And so I opened a second tab of Ravelry. And apparently when you do that, if you've got two tabs open, only one of them actively works, I guess. So I didn't save my progress before I opened that second window. So everything that I entered of the yarns just disappeared. It's very frustrating. Ravelry needs some updates. Ravelry needs to get into the 21st century. Anyhow, I love how it works for keeping track of things, but there are just a lot of things that I wish it had that it doesn't. Anyhow, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because I could spend a long time in it. But my Stephen West Mystery Music Howl, let's go over the colorways and then I will show you what I have done so far. I'm going to show my colorways in ABC order. My A color is this. It is Pearl Talk Usoxy Thing, and it is in the colorway Lagoon. Color B is Chicken Lady Fiber Arts Sparkly Sock in the colorway Quantum Blue. Color C is Twisted Ambitions, and it is his sweet sock base in the colorway Luck. And my color D, originally, I'm going to reach down here. Sorry, there's a box under the table that I have the yarn that my husband hand dyed. Originally, I was planning to use this. It is a colorway that I think we were going to call Canary if he actually decided to sell yarn. But we decided that we weren't quite ready to do that yet. And as it turns out, as you can see, we labeled nothing on this. And it turns out this is a DK weight that was not going to work for this project. So, my color D actually is this color, and it is a color by Holly Press Fibers in her Sheepish sock base, and it is called Tinted Gel. I used this, I may have used this in a couple of projects. I think I used this in the color work on a Christmas sweater that I made. as well as on a shawl that I made. Maybe I bought a full sweater's quantity of this. I don't remember. I did use a smidgen of this colorway. This is Why Not Fibers in their Stardust base. You can see the sparkle in that a little bit. This has got just subtle sparkle. And this is the colorway Moss. And then I've got a Mohair Dare color. Where did it go? Did I take it out? It is Rowan Kid Silk Haze. Found it. And it is in colorway 675, and that is Bluebird. So those are my colors. And let me show you what I have accomplished so far. I will start with Clue 1. I have shared my Clue 1 on Instagram, and I still have not woven any ends whatsoever in on this. So this is the scallops of Clue 1, and I decided to alternate some colors here because I wanted this green, this bright green Twisted Ambitions color to show more. So I thought I would switch up the colors. I have to admit, I stole that idea from someone else. In the same way that if you've seen my my mystery knit along sneak peek, wait, what do you call that? Like that when you put that first picture on Instagram to cover, that idea of where you like put yourself in place of Stephen West, I saw Shauna of Shauna Stitches do that. And the funny thing is, when I did it, I was thinking, oh, this is the trend now. Not realizing that she's the only one I've seen it from. And then I saw a couple of other people doing it. Knittler and Tradatha, if you've seen them at all. They also did it. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is a trend. So I went along with that. And then I'm thinking, wait, is it a trend? I haven't seen anybody else do it. And then I kind of started feeling self-conscious, like, have I stolen an idea that, like, I have no business doing? Like, I kind of feel like, ooh, maybe I stepped on somebody's toes and I shouldn't have. I don't know. So I apologize, Shauna, if I have taken an idea that was yours and just used it as my own. I did not mean to step on toes. Anyhow, what's done is done, and I am moving forward. So, Clue 1. I realized when I started doing these two colorways together here, this is my color C and color D together. I realized that I did not like this color combination. So these two greens together, I'm not a fan of. I don't like how they combine. Whether you say combine, contrast, whatever way you're looking at it, I just don't feel like I like them together. And that's just a personal thing. Somebody else might say, I love them. But just for me personally, I didn't like the look of it. So I switched things up for the next section. So for section 2, I have a short that I recorded. And so that you can find on my YouTube page, where I talked about, I called it the lighter blue, which I guess it's lighter than the darker blue, but it's sort of the medium blue actually. But the Mohair Dare is what I used instead of color D. So on this, so we've got, the pattern kind of goes A, C, D, C, B, C, A, C. So as you can see, there is a pattern to it, and I, instead of using D, used the Mohair Dare. So there is none of color D in my clue 2. So that's why when you saw my skein of color D, I had so much of it left because I did not use it in the clue 2. And then for clue 3, this is clue 3, part 1, or I guess section 3, because it's the 3rd section of the shawl. And I switched up some of my colorways, and I don't remember the order it was supposed to be in, but I believe this bright green and this darker green were supposed to be next to each other, but I changed up the order so that they wouldn't be. So the amount of yarn that I have left is probably nothing like what anybody else doing this mystery knit along has. And then this is section 4 of clue 3. Well, it's the second section of clue 3, but section 4 of the knit along. And again, I substituted my Mohair Dare held double for the colorway D. So more blue than green. And in this last clue, I haven't quite decided how I'm doing it all. So I did start with the colorways recommended. This is a brioche section, and I will be knitting as intended, as Stephen West intended. And yeah, sorry, I think there's Suri floating through the air, and it just keeps getting caught in my eyelashes. I don't have fake eyelashes. I don't know why that would happen. I do wear mascara though. Anyhow, that's everything I have for today. I'm going to throw it back to past me to take you out of the episode. I don't think there was anything special said, but there I am. Okay. As a wrap up for this episode, I hope you are enjoying all of the knits that you are working on right now, all of the works in progress, finished objects, whatever you may have. And I hope you've got some great new yarn to work with, or you're enjoying working through stash. Whatever you're doing, please remember to like, subscribe, survive, and thrive. And I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.